Tonight at 9, it was anything but a lazy Sunday in Carthage, Missouri, as plenty of four-staters took part in the Pumpkin Run 8K and 2-mile run.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Mike Mahoney. A Friday night structure fire leaves a Baxter Springs firefighter with serious injuries. Fire crews were able to extinguish the fire at 14th and Lyons Road, but not before Baxter Springs firefighter Malachi Brown suffered third-degree burns on more than a quarter of his body. His wife posted an update on social media saying that Brown had been flown to a burn unit in Springfield, where he's currently sedated and on a ventilator. She also says that while it's been a rough ride, her husband is stable and will undergo surgery and skin grafts tomorrow. A recovery timeline has not yet been established, but Malachi might be in the hospital until December, and physical therapy could follow after that, according to Malachi's wife. Authorities have identified the victim in Saturday night's homicide in Pittsburgh, and they say they have a suspect in custody. Yesterday, just before 6:30, officers were called to an apartment at 415 South Broadway in Pittsburgh after a person reported finding a woman lying on the floor of her apartment. The Pittsburgh Police Department has identified the victim as 18-year-old Jay Stellich of Pittsburgh. Officials say Delich was shot with a handgun. Police say after reviewing surveillance footage and speaking with witnesses, they identified 23-year-old Brian Baker of Tennessee as the suspect. Around midnight, Baker was located by police walking in the area of 16th and Joplin. Officials arrested Baker and, after searching him, found a handgun. After questioning Baker, he was arrested for second-degree murder and is being held at the Crawford County Jail in lieu of a $1 million bond. A Fort Smith, Arkansas officer is undergoing surgery following a knife attack. Officials say at least 3 people are dead following the early morning incident. A public information officer says the knife attack happened on the 2800 block of Tillis Avenue around 6:15 this morning. The officer reportedly fired his weapon in self-defense. Details about what led up to the officer firing his weapon have not been released. As of now, neither the victims nor suspects in this case have been identified. Arkansas State Police have taken over the investigation into the knife attack and the officer firing his weapon. One person is dead and another is injured following a crash in the northern part of Crawford County. The accident happened around 6:30 last night, 10 miles north of Kansas Highway 47 on U.S. Highway 69. According to the Kansas Highway Patrol, a car driven by 61-year-old Jeffrey Leroy of Pittsburgh crossed the center line and into the path of a car driven by 18-year-old Carter Edgecombe of Burnett. Both vehicles attempted to avoid each other and ended up crashing in the center of the roadway. Leroy died from his injuries. Edgecombe suffered minor injuries. All right, let's change tunes and let's talk about today's weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly. Nick.
Pretty quiet day once again, Mike. Not bad to wrap up another weekend here, excuse me, in the month of October. As far as temperatures go, a little bit better compared to yesterday's numbers. Instead of upper 30s and lower 40s, we only dropped to 42 this morning and topped out at 74. A little bit back above normal, but an improvement if you weren't a fan of the 60s that we saw for highs yesterday. It's nice to see nothing still on the radar network. We have stayed dry once again all day long, and it's easy to see why. High pressure passing just to our south along the Arkansas-Louisiana state line. That's keeping temperatures in check as well. We're in the mid to upper 50s right now. And a quick look at the day tomorrow continues our little warming trend. We'll drop back into the upper 40s and some spots near 50 overnight. And we'll just keep things quiet once again with the south wind kicking back into gear, though, Mike. I think we'll have highs topping out around 74 tomorrow. We'll see how the rest of the week is shaping up here in a bit.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks so much, Nick Kelly. And calling all superheroes, Super Tam in Carterville hosted an All Heroes event and invited the community to dress as their favorite superhero. The event allowed our local superheroes dealing with COVID-19 and other work-related stresses to hang up their capes and enjoy a super flight, which was 6 junior scoops of ice cream. There was also a way to burn off that ice cream with some yoga taking place at the event.
So today is a collaboration of 2 friends with 2 businesses coming together to celebrate all of our local heroes, a day to give them a little chance to take a break from all of the things that we've been doing and experiencing with COVID and all of the great things that they do for us every day.
And this is the first time the 2 businesses have worked together to honor our local heroes. The 38th annual Pumpkin Run took place today in Carthage. The event featured a 2-mile run and 8K run, as well as pumpkin prizes for the first 40 participants. While the run is good for your body, it also benefits the scholarship fund for the Cerebral Palsy Center. The run was organized by the Joplin Roadrunners Group. It's now time to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Tonight, we recognize Orville Burnett of Baxter Springs, Kansas. Orville served as a private in the U.S. Army and he fought in World War II. He earned a Bronze Star, a World War II Victory Medal, and many other honors. Thank you, sir, for your service and for fighting for freedom. For more information on all our four-state heroes, or to nominate your own, just log on to KOAMnewsnow.com. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Plus, we have got another update from the Canary Islands, where an erupting volcano continues to cause chaos. That is coming up right after weather.
We kept things pretty quiet once again for today. Not a bad way to wrap up yet another weekend here in the middle of October. In fact, the live shot from Indigo Sky Casino and Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri. The only activity we're seeing is the occasional cars driving around in the parking lot. That is about it as to what this camera captured throughout the course of the day. Even though it caught plenty of sunshine, cameras can't really catch an idea of temperatures, but the thermometer at Joplin Regional sure can. Upper 30s to lower 40s yesterday morning before we topped out around 66, 67 degrees yesterday. We did a little better today. Still quite cool this morning with lows in the lower 40s, but we saw highs push back near 73, 74 degrees. That's about the round number that most of us saw before we wrapped up our Sunday afternoon. But we're still looking good from 7th and Rangeline at 9:08 on the Sunday night. 55 degrees, so chilly already with the south wind at 7 miles per hour, though. We are going to have another slightly warmer start to our Monday morning as long as that humidity stays relatively in check as well. In fact, most of us are in the middle to upper 50s right now, but you can still argue a couple of spots like Chanute, Parsons, and Wells trying to hold on to readings near 60, but everyone's going to drop back into the upper 40s to near 50 as we continue to see clear skies here throughout the course of the night. It's easy to see why we didn't have anything to track again today. The same area high pressure that kept us quiet yesterday, even though it's scooting off toward the east into the deep south in the Tennessee Valley, it's still doing its job of keeping us quiet as we get this new work week and school week started tomorrow. But here's our next cold front working into the western parts of the United States now. Still, though, it has a little more real estate to travel across before it can reach us by Wednesday. But it will come in on Wednesday once this upper level low comes out of the Pacific as well. In the short term, though, we find ourselves sliding back underneath this temporary ridge at the jet stream level. That's going to keep us quiet still for the next few days, but also keep this warming trend going as we go through the next few days. In the meantime, though, not much to show here. Future track looks boring, which is good for everybody. We're going to keep things quiet compared to how we spent last Sunday night and last Monday morning. Clear skies abound, meaning we'll drop back only into the upper 40s. Most spots around 49 with the south wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And we're looking great again for tomorrow. Maybe just a few random clouds late in the afternoon. But temperatures don't look bad, especially with the south wind at 5 to 15 and even some gusts near 20. 68 by noon, highs topping out around 74 in downtown Joplin. As for everybody else, we're all fair game to go into the lower to middle 70s for our Monday afternoon. We keep quiet for Tuesday, but here comes that upper level low from the west, and with it, it will push that next cold front in here on Wednesday. That's going to be our next best shot for any scattered rain and thunderstorms, mainly during the day on Wednesday. Thankfully, we clear out to get the weekend ahead started, but I want to watch for a weak wave along the jet stream because one weak wave could try to bring a few showers our way by the time we head towards Saturday and Sunday. But as far as temperatures go, we're looking pretty good. 74 tomorrow, 76 Tuesday, 71 on Wednesday. Then behind the front, Mike, will go back into the mid 60s on Thursday and near 70 on Friday.
All right, sounds like a plan. Sounds like finally feeling like fall, but then the 70s come back. So, hey, that's just the four states for you.
No, these are numbers that we'll certainly take. These are looking good.
Sounds like a plan to me. And hey, Nick, check this out. That Spanish volcano that's been causing problems over on the island of La Palma, over in the Canary Islands, is acting up once again, or it's still been acting up, I should say. As you can see, it continues to spew lava. According to local officials, some 7,000 people were forced to evacuate from their homes as the eruptions continue. The lava so far has destroyed more than 1,800 acres of land and thousands of buildings. La Palma's volcano has been very active since it first erupted back on September 19th. Still to come, a variety of primates is getting vaccinated over in our nation's capital. The Smithsonian National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute has started giving some of their residents the shot, and you'll learn all about it right after this short break. Welcome back. Across the country, more vaccination mandates are approaching their deadlines. At least 2 major cities are bracing for a potential shortage of police officers as police unions have clashed with local governments over the legality of the mandates. Fox News' Laura Engel has the latest.
Police officers in Chicago and Seattle face a Monday deadline to report their vaccination status. It's unclear how many police are prepared to defy the order. Friday, a judge barred the police union president in Chicago from talking about the mandate on social media after he encouraged officers to walk off the job.
So any sergeant, lieutenant, captain, or above who gives you an order to go in that portal is not valid. You are able to refuse that order.
In Texas, the governor has barred vaccine mandates by executive order. Some companies, including Southwest and American Airlines, plan to go forward with theirs anyway.
Under the supremacy clause, federal law trumps state law, so we're going to go with the federal government. And I think in the court of law, they'll eventually win.
Despite their controversial nature, the numbers show mandates have been effective. Most organizations report the vast majority of their workforces are opting to get the shot. Those figures, along with data showing new cases and hospitalizations on the decline nationwide, and they're fueling optimism that the U.S. could avoid another serious wave of the pandemic.
We still have approximately 66 million people who are eligible to be vaccinated who are not vaccinated. The degree to which we continue to come down in that slope will depend on how well we do about getting more people vaccinated.
Fauci says most Americans will still need a booster shot, though right now there's no timetable on when they'll receive widespread approval. In New York, Laura Engel, Fox News.
The FDA holds back on approving the Moderna vaccine for teens while it investigates a potential new health risk. Officials say they want to take a look at whether Moderna's vaccine for adolescents poses a risk for myocarditis, a rare inflammatory condition. FDA regulators may not be able to determine the risks for several weeks. Parents who want their teens vaccinated can still do so with Pfizer and the BioNTech vaccines. The world's most locked down city is expected to re-emerge into a more open world next week. Melbourne, Australia will become free to roam again on October 22nd. Australian Premier Daniel Andrews said today that the lockdown will be lifted as Melbourne hits its milestone of a 70% fully vaccinated population. Melbourne's 5 million people have been under 6 lockdowns for a total of 263 days, or nearly 9 months since March of 2020. The Smithsonian National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute has started vaccinating their primates against COVID-19. The zoo announced Friday that staff gave out the first round of the 2-dose shots to 7 orangutans, a western lowland gorilla, 1 white-eared titi monkey, and 2 emperor tamarins. The vaccine was developed specifically for animals by the pharmaceutical company Zoetis. For being good sports, the animals were, quote, rewarded with honey for their participation. According to CBS News, the Denver Zoo and Oakland Zoo have also used the shot on some animals this past summer. When we return, we've got 2 stories updating you on Afghanistan. The United States says it is committed to offering condolence payments to the relatives of the 10 people who were killed in a drone strike in Kabul, Afghanistan back in late August. That story and more are next. Welcome back to your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. The United States says it's committed to offering condolence payments to the relatives of the 10 people who were killed in a drone strike in Kabul, Afghanistan back in late August. The U.S. military conducted the strike mistakenly believing their target was planning an attack on the airport in Kabul, which had been the scene of a deadly bombing just a few days earlier. Fox News' Trey Yangst has the details.
We've got some fresh reporting. A 9th evacuation flight from Kabul has landed here in Doha with 353 passengers on board, that according to a senior Qatari official. This amid new developments regarding the United States. 7 weeks ago, a U.S. drone strike killed 10 civilians in Afghanistan. Now the U.S. military is offering to pay the families of those who died. On Friday, Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby said the Department of Defense is committed to making condolences payments and working to relocate surviving family members to the United States. Last week, the Undersecretary for Defense spoke with the CEO of an aid organization that was mistakenly targeted in the strike. One of the group's workers, Zamari Ahmadi, was the main target in the U.S. drone strike that American officials initially called a success. The United States thought they were targeting an ISIS K cell with a Hellfire missile. Instead, they killed 7 children and 3 adults. Last month, we visited the site of this drone strike in Kabul and spoke with the families who will now be assisted by the United States. They described heartbreaking and harrowing scenes in the aftermath of the strike. One man lost all 3 of his children.
I ran to the car to take my nephew, and then my wife called to me to take my other nephew. Then I saw that the car was burning, and I ran to pull out my daughter. She was totally burned. Everyone was burned.
A devastating story, but this will be a chance for some of those family members to leave Afghanistan, this as the security situation there continues to deteriorate. In Doha, Trey Yangst, Fox News.
It's ISIS versus the Taliban as tensions between the 2 militant groups boil over in violence throughout Afghanistan. Fox News' Benjamin Hall takes a look.
Another deadly suicide bombing in Afghanistan is raising fears of a civil war. Dozens are dead in the southern city of Kandahar after an attack on a mosque packed with worshippers during Friday prayers. 4 men were allegedly involved. 2 set off their explosives at a security checkpoint, while the other 2 ran inside. It comes just a week after a similar bombing at a mosque in the northern city of Kunduz. ISIS claimed responsibility for that attack, and they're suspected in the Kandahar bombing as well. And with no military forces in the area, the US has little chance of stopping the bloodshed.
We don't have much leverage here, frankly. I mean, we gave that up when we made the decision not to keep our modest forces there at 2,500. That was always our leverage, and it's gone.
A protracted fight with ISIS was always a possibility. The terror group is opposed to Taliban rule and views Shiite Muslims as heretics. The Taliban and US officials met for talks over the weekend, resulting in a pledge of billions of dollars in humanitarian aid to Afghanistan. But the White House says much of that aid could be rescinded if the new government doesn't meet its commitments to the international community, including keeping up the fight against ISIS.
We have been very clear about the conduct that matters immensely to us. It is holding the Taliban accountable to their commitments to safe passage and freedom of movement, to their counterterrorism commitments.
A Taliban spokesperson says the group will protect Afghanistan's Shiite minority against extremist attacks. In London, Benjamin Hall, Fox News.
We'll be right back with more news. Former President Bill Clinton has been discharged from the hospital. Today, the country's 42nd chief executive walked out of the medical center in Orange, California, where he'd been hospitalized since last week. He was accompanied by his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. The ex-president was admitted last Tuesday for a treatment of a urological infection. Well, don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another look at your weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Danny Terzer. That's all coming up right here in your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
A Houston constable deputy killed and 2 others injured in an overnight ambush. I'm Laura Engel. We'll have that story coming up.
Police in Houston are working to piece together a shooting outside of a nightclub this weekend. The incident took the life of a Houston deputy and injured 2 other deputies. Fox News' Laura Engel is back with that story.
A tragic scene unfolding in Houston early Saturday morning. A gunman opened fire outside of a nightclub, killing 1 constable deputy and wounding 2 more. Police say 2 of the deputies were trying to detain someone else when they were shot. The 3rd came running over when he heard the gunshots.
They work the same areas, they work the streets, and, to have something like this, I mean, they never even saw it coming.
Police say 30-year-old Kareem Atkins died of his injuries, adding he had just recently returned to work after becoming a father. The 2 injured deputies have been identified as 28-year-old Daryl Garrett and 26-year-old Joaquin Barthen. Authorities are calling the shooting an ambush.
It's a despicable act by a coward, and it's been open season on police officers for some time.
Investigators are looking for a suspect, a Hispanic male in his early 20s. A person of interest found near the scene was detained, but detectives don't believe he is the shooter. This tragedy taking place just hours before the 40th annual National Peace Officers Memorial Service, which honors law enforcement officers who lost their lives in the line of duty. President Biden speaking at that event today.
As much as we hope not, there are going to be more names added to this roll call of bravery and sorrow.
Nearly 500 law enforcement officers lost their lives in the line of duty last year and the year before. In New York, Laura Ingle, Fox News.
Authorities in Lancaster, Pennsylvania are investigating a shooting at a shopping mall. It happened at the Park City Center this afternoon. A video posted on social media showed a group of people running from the scene as two men fought and gunshots went off. Police say the shooting resulted in injuries that were described as non-life-threatening. It's a parent's worst nightmare. Police say a man in Vancouver, Washington tried to kidnap a 5-year-old boy from the park. Fox News' Drew Marine tells us how a Good Samaritan jumped in and saved the day.
I grabbed my hand and smacked him.
5-year-old Quentin and his mom, Jennifer Crothers, were playing at Marshall Park Wednesday around 5 o'clock when police say a man, Cale Aguilar McNamee, attempted to kidnap him.
He ran up the slide, so he ended up on the other side from me. I saw the hand maybe hitting him, but first thing I said is, back off. And then he turned towards me, so I put my arm out and I said, back off. And then he went like this, so I took a step back and I said, back off. And he then just rushed at me.
That's when Crothers ran for help and the suspect chased behind her.
And I started screaming, someone call 911. Someone call 911, I can't. Someone call 911, I can't, I'm deaf. Please. Nobody did anything.
But a Good Samaritan stepped in to help.
She stopped him. I don't know if I would have had the power or strength to do that to a man of his size. She stood directly face to face to him, like not even a foot apart.
Crothers hopes parents take the time now to talk to their kids about stranger danger and are extra vigilant when in public.
I don't know if I've ever talked about stranger danger with him, really. And his instinct was, hey, wait, let go, and hit him. One thing I do think is important, especially at that park, where most people sit, is on the curved cement and the picnic tables. Had I been sitting where most of the parents sit versus being right where he was, I wouldn't have him.
In the chaos of the moment, Crothers didn't catch the woman's name and now hopes to find her.
I mean, literally. She saved us, and I really wish I got to say thank you.
We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Stay tuned.
We kept things pretty quiet, thankfully so, compared to what we had to deal with last Sunday night and last Monday morning with that potent storm system that gave us a bit of severe weather. But this view from Indigo Sky Casino Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri has been keeping quiet throughout much of this weekend, and that certainly applies to today. With plenty of open blue skies and a south wind kicking back into gear today, that made a definite improvement on temperatures. After we started in the upper 30s and lower 40s yesterday morning, we at least topped back around 66, 67 at Joplin Regional the other day. We stayed a bit cool this morning, but at least lower to middle 40s this go around, before we topped out around 73, 74 across much of the area. Right now, 7th and Range Line, a little traffic below on the streets on the east side of Joplin, but the skies above still looking pretty calm. 55 degrees with the south wind at 7 miles per hour. This is going to be our saving grace compared to how the past few mornings have been, with the south wind sticking in place throughout the course of the night. For the time being, at least, it's keeping most of us in the middle to upper 50s, with a few spots like Fredonia, Chanute, and Parsons sitting near 60 still. But this light southerly breeze, even though it's light, will only allow temperatures to drop back into the upper 40s and a few spots near 50 as we continue with nothing but clear skies throughout the course of the night. And looking at the bigger picture, not much to track across the entire four-state region because of one key feature at the surface. This big blue H, this area of high pressure working along the Arkansas-Louisiana state line, this is what kept us quiet yesterday and today. And now that we're getting on the backside, or the flow of the high, the clockwise flow, that's what gave us a southerly wind. That's what's going to continue to encourage our little warming trend to continue. But off to the west, you can see our next cold front already trying to produce some rain across western parts of Washington State, Oregon, and northern parts of California. That's the next front on the way. But you can see it still has a long ways to go before it gets here. We'll wait for this upper level low working into California to push that front throughout Wednesday. So in the meantime, we are finding ourselves underneath a temporary upper level ridge. This is what will continue the warming trend for the next few days. And thankfully, it will keep us Okay, as far as temperatures go. As for the rest of the night, it's going to be chilly and certainly a bit cool to start your Monday morning out, but you can see how the future track looks as boring, as quiet as it can be, but that's good because there should be no issues to get your morning commute back to work and school going. 49 degrees is where we'll start the day out for your Monday. Then with the south wind at 5 to 15 kicking in during the afternoon and some occasional gusts near 20, that's going to send us to 68 by noon, and afternoon highs, at least in Joplin, topping out around 74 degrees. Now, outside of the city, everyone's fair game to go into the lower to middle 70s, even with maybe some little cloud cover trying to work in our western counties late in the day. We'll still keep things quiet as we get this new work week and school week started. But let's take you through the rest of the week. Here's Tuesday. We stay dry and a little warm with mid-70s again on Tuesday. But then this upper level low pushes that next front through. So this will be our next best shot for any scattered rain and thunderstorms. Nothing severe at this point. We're drying out for Thursday and Friday, which is a good way to start the upcoming weekend out. But along the jet, got to watch a weak wave by Saturday and Sunday. That could probably bring in some more rain chances for both of those days while keeping temperatures in check. But 74 tomorrow, 76 Tuesday, 71 on Wednesday. Then behind the front mic, we're talking about upper 40s for Thursday and Friday morning. But highs, 65 to 70 degrees, and keeping those 60s and 70s seen going as we go into next weekend.
Yeah, I'm tired of using the air conditioner. I will take it. I'm ready for the fall weather to finally feel like it.
Yeah, just open up the window, let Mother Nature take care of that.
Sounds like a plan. All right, and stay tuned, sports fan. We'll be right back with Danny Terzer and your KOAM News at 9 Sports Report. And Danny's got a ton of fun stuff headed your way, including highlights from today's Kansas City Chiefs victory. That's coming up in just 2 quick minutes.
This is the Toyota Sunday Night Sports Feed. After a primetime loss to the Bills at home on last Sunday, the Chiefs aim to rebound today on the road against Washington. Kansas City 2-3 on the season. Darrell Williams puts the Chiefs on the board first, charging in from 2 yards out. Besides that, the first half was worrisome for the Chiefs. They had 3 more turnovers to their double-digit season total. They turn it around though. Patrick Mahomes connects with Tyreek Hill over the middle. That for the lead. Then it's Williams again, waiting for an opening before carrying it in. Chiefs get in the end zone once more late in the game. Mahomes finds DeMarcus Robinson behind the defense for the score. Kansas City D keeps Washington off the board the entire second half. Chiefs win 31-13.
I think the biggest thing was the guys kept believing in me. I think that was a big thing to me. I mean, Orlando, Travis, Tyreek, all those guys came right up to me and they're like, "You keep being you. Like we know you're competing. We know who you are. Don't let that one thing affect how you play." And you saw it in the second half. I kept doing stuff, kept throwing across my body and doing all that different type of stuff because I know those guys believe in me, and I'm gonna keep being that and keep fighting to the end.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas and Missouri Southern Lions were at home on Saturday, and both teams collected wins. Missouri Southern's Nick Williams hit a 27-yard field goal as time expired to lift the Lions over the Mules. The Lions were very successful in the run game, putting up 320 total yards on the ground, including 136 from Nathan Glades, a career high for the Joplin product. The Lions' defense had 2 picks and forced 3 straight punts in the fourth quarter to give the offense a chance to take the lead. That they did. Missouri Southern picked up its first home win since 2018.
Ever since I got the job, it's been tremendous support from the community, tremendous support from campus. I mean, just great support. And so, you want to give them something. You want to give them something that they can be proud of. You want to give them something they can stay for 4 quarters, they can cheer for 4 quarters. And we did that tonight, and just super proud of them too, you know what I mean? Just sticking with me.
At Kearney Smith on homecoming, Pitt State rolled to a 59-7 victory over Lincoln to get to 5-2 on the season. The Gorillas came out hot, scoring the game's first 24 points. 7 different players scored for the Gorillas in the game, and on defense, PSU held Lincoln to 1 touchdown. Here's PJ Sarwinski's thoughts on seeing some new faces get game reps.
I absolutely love seeing those guys out there because, when we're on the sideline, we get a chance to coach too, coach them up and learn from them. But just the guys getting in there, they work hard too. They have to do everything we do. They go through everything, and so just to see them get a chance to play is awesome, and I'm happy for them.
The Missouri High School Girls State Golf Tournament starts on Monday. A familiar face from Carthage will be competing. Senior Haley Bryant is back for her 4th time. Haley Bryant is a 4-time state qualifier. She's not new to the big stage, but a lot has changed since her first experience as a freshman.
Definitely a lot of growth since then. My freshman year, I was extremely nervous and put a lot of pressure on myself for this, and because it's the highest place you could go. And now I'm just like, this is what I'm here to do. I've been working towards this goal, and I'm just ready to finally achieve it, basically. It's a lot less pressure in my mind now, and just a lot more of like me being ready to show people what I can do.
She knows who she is as a ball striker. She knows who she is around the green. She has a trust in herself differently than she may have when she was a sophomore. I think she kind of is comfortable in her own skin with who she is as a golfer.
Bryant placed 8th at state last year. This year, she's aiming even higher.
Honestly, as a senior this year, I'm really just looking to go out there and prove to people how I can play. I kind of just want to go have fun and just see the improvement from my freshman year to now. I'm really looking for that and just to put up a good round if I can.
I think if she leverages her ball striking and puts herself in those positions where she can really attack, I think she could maybe have some of her best rounds coming up.
She has momentum coming off a Central Ozark Conference title earlier this month.
At conference, I still didn't even feel like I played my best, which definitely pushes me even more. Like I feel like now I'm ready to actually play my best.
She has a quiet intensity about her with competitiveness. She wants it really bad. She's very driven.
Bryant has accomplished a lot in her career. She's a 4-time All-District performer, 4-time All-Conference performer, and is the first Carthage girls golfer to get All-State recognition, which she earned last year.
After accomplishing a little bit and like some smaller things, now like I've set these bigger goals for myself, and I feel like I'm finally reaching them, and I'm really glad that my last year I could do such thing.
As her high school career nears its end, Bryant is undecided on what her competitive golf future will look like, but she says the thought of stopping stings, and she thinks there's still more that she can accomplish. We'll be right back with more news.
Welcome back. A mother in California is going all out with her Halloween display this year, and it's for a good reason. She is bringing joy to her son who is homebound with special needs and also bringing a ton of Halloween spirit to the neighborhood. Fox News' Azenith Smith checks out one heck of a haunted house.
Over the years, Shelly Jimenez has decorated her home in Willow Glen for Halloween. A prop here, a prop there. This year, her yard has no more room.
Being shut in for so long, I really built a lot this year and outdid myself. I really did.
The reason for the over-the-top decorations that rival any clown store is her 26-year-old son, Christopher, born 26 weeks premature with brain damage. He also has cerebral palsy, terminal lung disease, and since we last met him in 2019, is now blind.
Unfortunately, he's not able to see the display anymore, not able to see the bright lights that he loved.
But what he can do is hear and feel the props.
That's the circus ring, and here's his hands.
Christopher's circumstances would discourage a lot of mothers to give up, not Shelly, who added more festive props near his new wheelchair ramp.
I had a soft spot in my heart for this family.
Doug Fernandez is the contractor who built that ramp this year. It would typically cost thousands of dollars. He did it for free.
I said, sometimes people need a break in life. They persevere through the thickest storm that one can imagine.
It just means so much for someone to just do something like that.
Neighbors say Shelly's decorations have become a fixture.
It's just become a thing where people come and see, from all over the neighborhood, from far. We see people stopping and taking pictures.
Halloween decorations, originally meant to be entertaining for her son, now a gift for others.
Jumps up.
Wow, they're going to scare kids, but I think they did a great job here. Wow.
I'm bringing happiness to others, and for me, that's what it's all about. It really is.
We're not done yet here in your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, some sea turtles that were rescued from traffickers in Colombia are heading back home to the deep blue sea. That story and more are coming up in just 2 short minutes. It is time to get a sneak peek of the latest entertainment coming out of Hollywood. Here is Fox News' Ashley Dvorkin.
Clifford takes on New York, Affleck offers advice, and Barry fights for a second chance in the Hollywood nation.
I'm offering you a second chance. You gonna take it?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. Halle Berry makes her directorial debut and stars in the new sports drama Bruised. A first-look trailer features the Oscar winner playing a disgraced MMA fighter seeking redemption in the cage while fighting for custody of her son. The film will be available to stream on Netflix November 24th.
Very important. Never hit a woman, even if she stabs you with scissors.
Ben Affleck serves up life lessons in George Clooney's new directorial effort, The Tender Bar. Based on the best-selling memoir of the same name, Affleck plays a bar owner who becomes a father figure to his nephew, JR. The coming-of-age film follows JR as he pursues his professional and romantic dreams. It starts its run in theaters December 17th and will be on Amazon Prime Video January 7th. And Paramount Pictures unleashed a new trailer for Clifford the Big Red Dog. Based on the children's book series, the live-action movie follows the giant canine on an adventure through New York City, teaching people around him about unconditional love and acceptance. The film debuts in theaters and on Paramount Plus November 10th.
Your dog just saved my life!
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Hollywood avoids disaster by settling with production workers to prevent a strike. Studios and entertainment companies reached an agreement late last night with International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees. They all agreed to a 3-year deal before tomorrow's strike deadline. The agreement avoids more problems for an industry that's been struggling through the coronavirus pandemic. The union represents cinematographers, camera operators, set designers, carpenters, hair and makeup artists, and more. Union members had complained about long hours, time off, rest breaks, and unlivable wages. Union President Matthew Loeb called the agreement a Hollywood ending. All right, here's a great story to end the show on. 31 turtles that were saved from animal traffickers were released back into the wild in Colombia this week. Unfortunately, 11 more turtles died due to mistreatment by the traffickers, but those remaining were examined by veterinarians and returned to the Colombian Caribbean. 5 people were arrested for the animal trafficking in connection with the incident. The World Wildlife Fund says almost all sea turtles are considered endangered. Well, thanks so much for wrapping up your weekend with us. We will see you next week for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Have a great night. Stay safe out there.